woke up with a different perspective on life. So I'm here to tell you that the power belongs to you. You you can't do it.
My father used to always tell me, "Nous apprécier ça qui une, ou travail pour joindre confiance, ou loyal à ça qui loyal." Honesty is appreciated.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the figures. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the figures. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma.
What's going on, beautiful people? Head to head with Brian Parker. I am host Brian Parker, live streaming from Roku on NPower TV, as well as YouTube and Facebook. Something that I wanted to try out to see how it would go, and glad to say that checking it out on both of the platforms, looks like we are live free. That's good. Why is that important? Main reason is that I want to be sure that we can get to you guys wherever you are, wherever you stream. So it will get better and better and better. By the way, let me like myself. There we go. So, just jumping on for a little bit, just to let everybody know that our Roku channel has been up for almost months. Thanks to everyone that has joined, everyone that has checked out the channel. Truly do appreciate that. All of the folks that have contributed content, we ecstatic that you guys have done that. We want to definitely be a platform that um, caters to a lot of our independents, folks that would love to have an outlet like this. You or anyone you know would like to air your content on our platform, please don't hesitate to get in touch with TV or the Roku streaming stick. Please visit us online at www.parkermediacompany.com. Be able to check out the live streams as well as the immense catalog of on-demand things. So if you can't watch it as it streams and you want to just be binge or catch it later, certainly do that with our on-demand feature. There got suggestions, comments, things like that. The main thing, please like, please share, subscribe. Not on YouTube. Yes, please go to NPower, all one word, N, the letter N, Power, TV. Subscribe to the channel. That way, anytime anything gets posted, you'll be notified about it. If you can, please add the Roku app onto. As you do have to add the app, it will not just automatically appear, but if you do a search, it will pop up. Okay, so all of that. Look, guys, it's been a very, very busy time for me the last, literally, family, Brooklyn, New York, Concord, North Carolina. If you know where Concord is, think of Charlotte and go about 5 miles. Feels good to be back home. I'm originally from the area. Kind of decided to make a change while we could, especially in the time of COVID. But still, nothing's going to change from the standpoint that content is going to be there. Head to head is going to We just recorded Head to Head Sports tonight, and it will air tomorrow at 11 o'clock. It is just a weekly broadcast. I co-host with Randall Hargrove about the NFL, talk about what happened previous week and what we think is going to go on in subsequent. Look, it's been very, very crazy in the NFL, especially this past week with a lot of players, especially with the Titans, down with COVID and everything else. So we talk about that as well. Just trying to do a couple of different things. Guys engaged, watch the channel and that. Head to Head is also a show that we do discuss lots of topics, whether it's political, social, things like that. I'm a very political person. Excuses about that. Definitely have my opinions, but definitely actually, well, you'll hear me some given time tell you current administration, election, voting, politics in general, for me, decisions that we entrust people to affect us have to be we're putting in these places accountable. That we vote, that we voices, that we just stay engaged. That we don't turn. They expect you to be so engaged with kids, spouse, work, everything else that if you are not um, adhering to we've asked you to do, then we'll vote you out and we'll put somebody else in. We don't want people to get complacent with our vote or just take our votes. I'm definitely going to say that because we need to be engaged. Engaged. And we just had our had our vice president debate yesterday. Kind of had to sit on it a little bit more because national. It was okay. I thought it was just okay because, as I pointed out yesterday, I think a lot of people had expectations that Kamala Harris was just going to destroy Mike Pence. I don't really think that happened. I mean, place a little bit. For the most part, he ducked and dodged questions he didn't want to answer. How on steroids right now, anyway. So probably ain't thinking anywhere as clearly as he normally thinks. Still isn't alive. But he knew he had one person to appeal to. So he had to kind of straddle that fence. The biggest thing of the night apparently becoming a fly sitting on his head, and comments from debates motel to the fly got caught in the Pence web to or all those things are possible. So it's just really, really funny that the fly kind of stole the show. It was a little bit more civil. There were still some facts that some things Kamala Harris didn't get quite right. A lot of things Mike Pence said that weren't quite right. One thing that kind of offended me, Pence said, but I mean I expect people to say this. He said that there is no inherent racism in policing. And I think he really believes. Why do I think he believes that? Because it's hard for people that don't go through those things to be able to see it that way. When Mike Pence sits there and literally says, I don't think there's inherent racism. I don't think there's an inherent bias. The way cops treat minorities, exactly what. Dude, you're tone deaf. If you would do some town halls in the African American community, I think you would get a better feel for whether you can make that statement or not. Now, whether you feel like it's overwhelming, whether you feel like it's a majority, if it's a minority, that can be up for debate. But to just basically stamp it out like there is no credence to the fact that there is inherent bias in policing, when you know good and damn well that uh, if George Floyd was white, he would be alive. If Trayvon Martin white, he would be alive. If Michael Brown was white, he would be alive. If Ahmaud Arbery was white, he would be alive. If Breonna Taylor was white, he'd be alive. If Tamir Rice was white, he would be alive. If Eric Garner was white, he would be alive. If Sean Bell was white, he would be alive. Do I need to go on? The only thing that these people have in common, because they live in all these different places across our great country, is they're black. They're people of color. Okay? I don't need to remind you, Dylan Roof sat there and killed 9 people in Charleston, South Carolina. Off at a meal before they took him in. Come on, people. That's just the case. Not, anybody playing a race card. It's a fact, guy. So for Pence to come out of his mouth and say that, knows he's full of crap. Now, and I don't understand how saying that. Listen, do I believe that we shouldn't have police? Police are necessary in society because they're supposed to. Yes, they're supposed to be there for safety. There are rules, regulations, but it needs to be enforced justly. Okay? Not that we can say we just take all the money away from the police. Defund the police is not about taking money away from the police that they need. Taking money away that needs to be directed into more social programs. Police cannot be social counselors, not their jam. At the same time, police also isn't the military. There's a reason that you have branches of the military different. When your local police start looking like commandos, Delta Force, Army Rangers, there is a problem. Police do not need to become the Army, the military. This is not a police. They're there to protect and serve. Protect also means protecting your rights, protecting your right to live, protecting your right to uh, uh, be in your community without people looking at you a certain kind of way and determining that you don't need to be talks about there is no implicit bias. Dude, you're out of your How many more examples do you need? Tone deaf can you be? How absolutely insulting to African Americans can you be by saying something so absolutely ignorant and stupid? You want to tell me, well, there's a few bad apples. Okay, I've heard the whole bad apple. If I had that many bad apples in my sack, I would just throw the whole stack out. But I digress. Okay, so it's a few bad apples. Still need to address it. Just because you quantify it as a few, and maybe in my experience, it seems like more than a few. But the one thing we can agree on is that bad apples profession makes the rest of that profession. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's media, it's think about it. You go to a hospital and you got a couple of doctors there that are a few bad apples. But the whole hospital gonna get sued for malpractice. That makes the reputation of the entire hospital look bad. You go to a school and a lot of the teachers are bad apples, not teaching the kids, and they're just bad teachers. It brings the reputation of that whole school down. You have a couple of bad apples in any company or organization, it can negatively affect other people willing to do that company. Just don't simply say, well, it's only a few bad apples, but the majority of the folks at the company want to produce, want to be productive in their job, and you just turn a blind eye to that are making your reputation bad. No one would do that, and no one would go for that. So when we sit there and we say, hey, there's some bad cops out there, there are some bad cops out there. Some cops want to be cops because they want to be able to pay people and exact whatever law they think they need to enact. And the problem that we tend to have with good cops is that sometimes good cops end up in situations where they're not reporting the bad confession snitch. And it's kind of funny how that code does exist. Then people talk about the code in the neighborhood where snitches get stitches and stuff like that. Okay. There's a blue code as well where snitches get stitches as well. Cops aren't allowed to sit there and, as they call it, rat somebody out. Code of protection, even if it means keeping the hidden. At the end of the day, New Yorkers all the shots and everything else. So